I'm recording. Okay, I posted the tracker in the chat. This is the work that we're going to go over today. And kind of work through. Okay, so if you've never been on one of my power hours, we try to work together the whole time. There's going to be a little bit longer time to work today, just based on the activities, but that's always nice. It's hardest probably for me to just be like, okay, work, because I am a squirrel and I can't stand like sitting still for very long. But what I really want to focus on today, and I want you guys to set an intention for this, because again, if you've got intention behind the work that you're doing, then it makes it that much more what's the word? Effective. Look at me pulling out these words. It's 7 a.m. It's like not even a big word. So anyway, so I want you to set a quick intention for your power hour. Today, do you want to just be productive? Do you want to show up in a specific energy? Do you want your content to circle around a specific topic? Like, just set a really quick intention. I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share before we do our wake up post, like our wake up power hour post. I always start with some kind of something that we can network to, right? Like the reason we post is so that all this networking, all this connecting, we have something to drive all the traffic we're trying to create, we're trying to drive them to this post that you're going to make. So I was thinking this morning about how so many coaches kind of get like paralyzed, or so many of us get paralyzed in what we're posting sometimes, because we're like, what are they going to think? Or, all the intrusive false talks of like, what are people thinking of me? Is this going to help them? There's always like this they and this them in your mind, kind of in the background, and telling you and kind of like controlling your behavior and your thoughts around this stuff. And what I thought about today, which I think is so important, is one of the reasons why I think those thoughts continue to happen, kind of like negative self-talk, all of that stuff, is because we think about it so much. If you think about it this way, in this context, it was really helpful for me. You think about it so much that your brain adds those things to your favorites list. And then it keeps showing it to you like it's doing you a favor, because it thinks you like them, because you keep focusing on them. You keep going back to them. You keep stewing on them. You spend the most time on those thoughts and those posts in your mind. And so that's what's continually being fed to you. So if you think about it that way, and there's like some negative self-talk or critical things coming up for you, or you are constantly crippled or paralyzed by like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me, or any of that stuff, I want you to think about it in that context, because it simplifies it quite a bit, and it helps you stop liking that stuff when it comes up in your mind, right? You stop spending the most time on those things, and you start to really focus outward instead of going inward so much, and you really are able to give and serve other people in a much healthier way. Okay, so that's my spiel for this morning. So we're going to start with an invitation post. So what I want you guys to focus on, and what I like about these power hours, we're going to get back to this hot tip in a little bit, so I didn't forget it. What I like focusing on when you make an invite post specifically, is what I want you to do with this particular one, I'm going to give you a little guidance with it, is create a post explaining your mission overall. Like your whole entire, like, what is the overall vision of what you want to help people with, or help people accomplish? Like, what are you here to do? What is your mission? Explain your mission, and then detail how your community or your group, your challenges, like how does that drive that desired result? It's really simple. Here's your mission, your challenge groups, and everything that you're doing, and all this effort you're putting in, and these invitations are helping people get to a place where this overall mission and vision that you have for them is possible. Does that make sense? It might sound really challenging and really complicated, but it's very simple. Why did you become a coach? What did you sign up to help people do. Generally speaking, that mission comes from your own personal transformative experience, which is something I've been talking to my coaches a lot about. The reason why coaching is something that like you're even interested in is because you had some kind of transformative experience with Beachbody, with your own personal journey, with how it's changed your life in some kind of way. Like that really should be what you draw your mission from. That should be something that is present, that you use a lot in order to invite people, because that's something that you know for sure. That's something you can always be confident in. And if you're ever like, oh, I don't know how to invite somebody, this is the perfect invitation post. Here's my mission. Here is the details on how I'm going about this mission. And then you can even share the results of it, right? Like, here are the results of this thing I've put in place, this thing I'm doing every day. And I'll just give you a quick example then and let you guys go and write for a solid 10 minutes you'll have to do your post. My husband was supportive, but not emphatic. Is that the right word about coaching? And it wasn't until I was 3 years in to coaching and I was well into a higher salary at that point, Beachbody disclosure, all the things. So I was making money, right? Like that wasn't the problem. There was no argument there. I was working a lot. And it wasn't until one day he walked into my office and he looked at my transformation wall and he was like, what is all this? And I'm like, oh, this is my transformation wall. Like these are all the people that we're helping. And he's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this was this big and that this was like this impactful, because he's a fitness guy, like he's a gym guy, you know, and he's like all about the transformation. And so he's like, this is so incredible. And it took him visually seeing the result of that mission, that hard work, that effort, that pushback, that sacrifice, like all the things, right, that you go through with your spouse. And so just remember that, like when you really are trying to build this vision for people and for yourself, there has to be some kind of gauge or measure of your impact and your mission working. That's so important. That's what helps the coach process and your transformative experience happen with coaching. It's not necessarily how much income you make or what rank you're going to hit or what success club you're going to be in this month. It's like, what's the real impact here? And how am I gauging that so that whatever else comes up, I can keep pushing, right? So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. I want you to, again, create an invitation post. I'm doing mine on Instagram. We're going to do a Facebook post later, so try to focus on this platform. Share your mission, explain it, and then detail how your community and group accomplished this mission or accomplishes this mission, and then invite people who seek that desired result. If you're ever like, oh, I don't know what my niche is, I don't know who to invite, like, I don't know specifically who I want to work with, I want to help everyone. You want to help people who seek this specific desired result of your mission. Okay? Okay. You guys have 10 minutes. Leah Russell, I have that t-shirt and I love it. And then we'll go and move on to the next part. Just going to put on a little meditation music for us. Okay, guys. How are we feeling? These mission and invite posts take sometimes a little longer than we hope or want them to. So it's okay if you didn't all the way finish through this next part. You can just finish it and then post it and then kind of catch up, because this next section is just the networking and it goes by quick. Okay, so I just wanted to say on this last one that because I thought that was a good question with Brianna. Anytime somebody asks you a very direct question like that and like wants to jump into something, all that is their fear speaking. All that is like, I need some real reassurance here, right? And it's not always that they care about the cost. It's that they've been taken advantage of before and they have invested in things before. And they're like, freak, can I do this again? So I think sometimes, like when people, and if you guys didn't read the chat, Brianna just asked, she had somebody respond to her and say, how much does it cost to get started? Like just out of the blue, like there was just a blunt question. And I think it's something that a lot of people get. So the way that I handle that is directly. I handle every question directly. I don't skip over what they ask me. I don't beat around the bush. I don't like try and dismiss that and move on to, let me educate you first so I can sell you on this package. That to me is icky marketing. Like the more transparent you are and the more direct you are, like 99% of the time that person will go with you over anybody else just because you were honest, upfront, and direct. Okay, so I always try to give them and answer their question very directly. And I just tried to give you some language that has worked for me. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that post that we just made on your Instagram. If for some reason you didn't get one made, that's okay too. Just go to your homepage and pick one of your posts, like your more recent post that's done well. And you can do the same thing with this. And you're just going to share it to your story. So if you click on the post itself, and then you click the little arrow, add to your story. What I want you to do is add it to your story, but then I want you to add to that. I want it to become like a conversation starter for you. This is a really great thing to do when you don't have a lot in the tank or you don't have a lot of time. Just pull up a past post and then put a little poll or question on it and say, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this topic? Something like that, that forces them to go and read and look at the post, right? It's just a good way to kind of capture engagement and start conversation. It's great to do this with your post, your first post every single day. That's what's going to kind of wake the audience up. Okay, so share it to your story, add some hashtags, maybe a little sticker poll, and get that conversation going. And then we're going to move on to another activity that you can do. I'm just going to find. So true story. I just booked a trip to Bali with Jamie Shepherd. If any of you guys know who she is, she does like these wellness retreats. I literally booked the trip to Bali yesterday. And then this article in People magazine came out that a woman was eaten by a boa constrictor in Indonesia, like right where I was going. I'm like, oh, this is great. So that's what I shared to my stories. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, and this is like, I've discovered that a lot of the time when I'm working, I scan a lot. I don't get lost in content and I don't read every tiny little thing, like in my notifications, even in my messages. Sometimes I've gotten really good at scanning and picking out the priority stuff, handling that, and then going back to anything that was like a little bit less priority later. So one thing that I do that I've discovered on my Instagram especially is I will go and scan my DMs. So if you go into your DMs, what I try to do is I look for conversations that I remember or feedback that people gave me or questions people asked me, and I'll go back into those chats and I'll screenshot it, and then I'll share that in the story. And I use those also as conversation starters, because like Brianna just said, like that girl that asked you that question, you could literally screenshot that question. This is a perfect example. So I'm glad that you brought it up. Screenshot that question. You can blank out her name if you want to, share it in your stories and be like, I get this question all the time. Here's proof that I get this question, right? Like, not like I get this question all the time. It's not like that. It's like, I got this question this morning and I wanted to just share here because I think this is something that holds a lot of people back. And then you can give the exact response that you gave her. The starting cost depends on what you're wanting to accomplish. Do you want to go all in? You want to focus on nutrition first? Do you want to do, you know what I'm saying? So you're kind of looking for those opportunities to re-coach and to coach out loud with tangible proof. Does that make sense? I don't want to say that it adds credibility because I think that you can do it either way. What I think it does is add relatability. It kind of brings people's guards down to know that they're talking to you in those ways and seeing questions verbalized and seeing interactions that you're having behind the scenes all the time so that they know you're doing more than just showing up on social media. Does that make sense? So it might not seem like that big of a thing, but this is a really simple thing that you can do every morning is just quick scan your DMs, or anytime this kind of arises now, you can screenshot stuff and use it as a group learning tool on your stories or in your challenge groups or whatever. So I'm going to give you a second and see if you can find something to scan and then upload it into your story. And again, you can add an engagement sticker to it, a poll. I always like to do like the ask me a question sticker because then people can like write me back right off my post, which I think is really convenient instead of like having to DM me or something. I'm gonna give you a second to do that one. Okay. Okay. Without the explanation, that should take like 1 minute. So when I'm explaining stuff, it takes longer, but this whole section with the networking is really fast. So the next thing that we're going to do, again, we're just trying to create engagement and exposure. You're just trying to put yourself in as many places to be seen as possible. So we're just going to go to your home page and I want you to like as many photos in your feed as you can in 1 minute. Okay, ready, set, go. Don't like things you don't want in your favorites. Just so you know. Okay. So what you guys just did by liking people's photos is put your name at the top of people's lists because they'll see that you liked their stuff right away. It's really just keeping you on the top of people's minds. Let's see. Okay. I usually only do like one poll a day. I don't do multiple polls a day. I like to show up in my stories authentically. Like I post stuff in my stories that I am like researching or that I find. Like sometimes I'll show up in their live these days, but I really use my stories differently than I used to now. It's kind of evolving. My Instagram handle is @CoachJace, if anybody wants to go there. I actually have been traveling, so I need to get my Instagram up to date. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do really quick is one of my favorite, if not my favorite way of networking on Instagram at the moment. I like to call it enter the chat. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to some influential accounts that you follow. These are bigger accounts, your mentors, stuff you follow for inspiration, nutrition pages, fitness pages, whatever it is, right? Like, and I want you to find content that resonates with you. So find a post that they've done recently that you really like. And then you're going to go in and enter the chat, meaning you're going to pull up the comments on that post. You're going to look for other people's comments that you either agree with, that you think are good points, and you just literally start commenting back to other people in the comment section. It's super simple. And it seems like, why am I doing this? But I promise you, not only is this going to add a lot of value to you because you're doing it in a place that is valuable to you on a topic that is valuable to you, but you're going to start seeing a better side of people. This is one thing that I didn't realize was happening, but sometimes in the coaching world, you get a lot of negative Nancy's, you get a lot of no's, you get a lot of like, you're living in fear and like pushing yourself so hard, so much of the time socially, that when you go and do this exercise, what you start to see is other people giving genuine feedback. You see people who genuinely need support, structure, and accountability. You start to see all the people that actually need help, and it's really empowering. So the point here is to help you guys find people that resonate with you and that you resonate with, start conversations, and organically meet people online. Okay, so I'm going to give you a good, let's see, 7:33. I'm going to give you a good 5 or 6 minutes to go in and do this. And when you leave a comment or start or enter the chat, I want you to post in the chat so that I know that you got it. Okay, I'm going to turn our music back on for a minute. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to explain is kind of this newer, it's not a new concept. It's just kind of a more intentional, like, differentiation that I kind of wanted to bring up. And I'm going to create a whole power hour around this. It's probably the more uncomfortable kind of networking, at least for me. But it's basically this idea of direct networking. So a lot of the stuff we just did is indirect networking. And the way that I like to explain it is, if you went to like an office party, or you went to like some event where you didn't know a lot of people, but there was like a lot of influential people there, or people that you wanted to like get to know or mingle with or whatever. Indirect networking is like going to the party and exposing yourself to the opportunity for people to like come up to you and talk to you and meet you, and being there, right? Like you're there, so people are seeing you, people know of you, right? But direct networking is when you go to the party and you're actively meeting new people and you're taking the opportunity upon yourself. Does that make sense? It's a very subtle difference, but there's a huge difference in the reward in that arena. I'm the person that will go to the party and stand by the wall with one or two people and be like, let's watch everyone. Like, that's the kind of, I'm not the person that's like, hey, everybody, look at me. That is how my husband is. And I've learned so much from watching him interact with people so fearlessly, and like just how easy those scenarios are for him. That's not for me. So even on social media, like direct networking, like, just so you guys know, I've been coaching since 2011, and to this date, I don't think have ever copy and pasted and DM'd somebody with a message, ever. Not one time. I don't do that. It's not my thing. Like, I haven't done that. And maybe sometimes I'm like, oh, this is to my own detriment. Like, we think we're holding ourselves back. And I probably was, but what I'm trying to do is just differentiate the two activities. So I'm trying to do some indirect networking. I'm trying to do some direct networking so that I can control the speed and accuracy of the work that I'm doing. So this is like I wouldn't say it makes me uncomfortable. It's just a different way to do it. So I'm going to give you a little example, just so that you know, for like my future power hours, this is coming up, and I'm just preparing you now because it might push you out of your comfort zone like it pushes me. But it's really just doing kind of the same basic things that we were doing, but you're directly involving other people. So when you share your story or your post in your stories, you're actually going to tag people directly in it. And they're like, oh, I got tagged in this story. What is this? And you're going to draw them directly to that content. Okay. Or like, another example is you'll post I'm going to create like a little welcome format, like a little welcome storyboard, if you will. And then every time somebody adds me or follows me, I'm going to write their handles down and do a welcome post a couple of times a week or once a week, where I tag everybody that followed me that week, right? And just tag them in it. Welcome to my page. I'm so glad you're here. Something super simple, still really authentic, just very direct. Does that make sense? So it's not even like direct inviting. It's still just direct networking to create opportunity for what? Connection. And then once the connection's made, then we can do the inviting, right? So that's a power hour that is kind of in the works, that's coming up. That's the kind of sneak peek. Let's see. So we're not going to do that exercise because I feel like we've done enough networking. So we're going to go to the connect part of this. The very last thing we're going to do on Instagram really is I want you to just scan sort of your notifications. You guys have been a little bit active now for the last 40 minutes. So just check your post, see if anybody has commented on it, look in your poll in your story, see if anybody's responded to it, check your DMs, just do like a quick couple minute scan. Respond to any comments or likes, because we're going to hop off the platform now. And this is just so you guys know exactly what the algorithms want. They want you to post and then be actively engaging on social media and then staying on the app for an extended period of time after you post. So you've officially done all the things that you can do here. Okay. So we're going to head over to Facebook. And what I want you guys to do is create an authentic Facebook post. So I don't want you to share one from what you just did. I don't want you to share one from the past. I want you to create a completely new, authentic Facebook post. And one thing that I want to say about this is remember that your challengers and your coaches will see this content probably more than anyone else, because our businesses largely are on Facebook, right? And bod groups. So like your challenge groups, if you run them, or your team pages are all on Facebook, right? So like when you go to your Facebook profile, like it's so important to have a really strong, positive presence there for your mission, so that your coaches and your challengers can see that. So we're going to do the same type of thing on Facebook. And what I love the most about this platform over Instagram is when you post on Facebook, that's how you connect. When you post on Instagram, that's how you reach people. That's how you like be like, hi, I'm here. Hello, everyone. When you're on Facebook, you're already connected, right? Completely, because your followers are your friends, your family, your network, they're all there, all in one. So it's a much safer space, at least for me, to be more vocal and to share like bigger things, deeper things. I'm pretty that way on either platform, but I want you guys to take a couple minutes, probably like 6 or 7 minutes, and I want you to create a Facebook post that's authentic to this platform. It's okay if you just shared your Instagram post, make another one. It's important to be authentic that way. Okay. So I'm going to give us a few minutes. Remember, it's your challengers and coaches that will almost always see this content. So make it count. And then we'll move on to the very last part. Okay, let's move to this last little section. I was trying to think if there was anything else. I feel like I had one other tip. Oh, my other tip. I'll give it to you at the end. Don't let me forget. Someone don't let me forget, or I will forget. Okay. So sometimes I was just going to note with Facebook too, I like to keep things really fun on Facebook, and really, I'm super curious about people. So, and I love asking questions. I think that's why coaching came really natural to me. I don't think that I'm a nosy person. I think I genuinely have like this like magnet for people to tell me their whole entire life story, and I don't even have to say anything. Like I don't even have to ask. My mom has the same thing. We get caught in grocery stores and people just start telling us their whole life stories. And we're like, why is this happening to us? But it's just like a quality that you have. And I've discovered that I think it's because my natural curiosity matched with my natural and genuine interest in other people's experiences creates a safe space for that. And it made me wonder, like, how many other people do that? Do you create safe spaces for people to share intimate things? Does your energy bring that? Do the words that you're saying invite that? Like, and if that's not something that's natural to you, a really simple practice to get into is just start asking questions, a lot of questions all the time. Like when I was a new coach, especially in conversations with people, when I was learning how to talk to people online that I didn't know, that one skill set and tool that I had, I think was one of the more powerful, just because it took all the focus off me, which is comfortable for me, and put all the focus on them. And that natural curiosity of, what's your experience with this? Like, tell me like your life story. Like, why do you do the things that you do? Why do you talk like that? Why do you like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just naturally curious. So with Facebook, that's a really good platform for that format. So if you're ever stuck, just ask a question. Like today, what I just posted was, have you ever, and I'm genuinely curious about this, is there something that you swore you would never do that you've done? It's just something really simple, right? But they're deep questions in like a very simple format, and people love answering questions like that. And I would say most of my conversations, new connections, and eventual challengers or coaches come from those specific posts. Not my invite posts, not my mission posts, not my before and after transformation posts. It comes from just genuine curiosity and interest in other people. Okay. The very last exercise that we're going to do is give you guys some quality coaching time. I want you to go into your group, your challenge group or your bod group. You can go into your DMs, wherever you go to coach people. And I want you to spend some quality time there. I think we get so hustle and bustle and so like, I got to make all this content, it's prepared, I'm going to push it out, that we forget that quality time piece is so key. Being still in your groups to recognize the needs of your challengers and like listening more instead of being the one that's talking all the time. So just going into your challenge group, review like your group notifications, scan through recent posts and respond, share valuable feedback with your challengers, like catch up on posts you missed or like little comments that people make. Sometimes in our challenge groups, like someone going in there and just responding to somebody else's post was like a big deal for them. So like any response, I personally believe any kind of response in a comment format or post format of any kind in your challenge group should be acknowledged, period, no matter what, because that's what's going to build confidence for them to do it again. If they always respond, it's going to give them more confidence as they go. So respond, share new tools, recognize or celebrate somebody, like just go in there and spend some time. We're going to do that until 7:59. This quality follow-up is really post call. So you can go through and follow up with everything and start kind of your day in the other direction, but I'll give you a few minutes and then we'll close up with my hot tips and then I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. So you've got about 6 minutes. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap up. My favorite part of power hours is when I get time to go into my group and just be in there and like spend my time there and not be pulled in 50 different directions. I think that's so important to give yourself that every day, because that's where we get our energy the most, I think it's from like our challengers first, because that's generally where our transformational experience came from, right? And Shan, yes. Okay. So my hot tip, this is my hot tip. So coaches, I've been getting, some of my coaches have been asking me like what they can do to make sure the activity that they're focusing on every day is productive. Like the two terms that we hear all the time are like needle mover and business building activity, right? And here's my tip. And I think this is going to be especially important going into this new year. So if you can kind of wrap your brain around this now, I think it will help. The only thing that moves your needle forward is a new membership, an existing membership, a subscription, or a sponsorship. Membership, subscriptions, sponsorship. If what you're doing isn't leading to that, if what you're doing isn't leading to, can I make a sale from this? Can I get a new subscriber from this? Like subscription, like home direct order from this? Can I get a new membership from this? Can I get a new sponsorship from this? It's probably something that you need to retool. And what I mean by that is a lot of people spend so much time researching meal plans, content, calendars, all this stuff. That's all great. Those are all perks for the people that sign up and join, and it's part of your community. Those don't lead to sales. Those don't lead to a brand new member. Those don't lead to, you know what I'm saying? So you can spend 4 hours on this document that's so incredible that you post, and 5 seconds later, it's forgotten about, like for real. But it makes us feel like we're doing something. And so we go to it time and time and time again, or we spend so much time on our content, right? There's so many ways that we spend so much time on the things that don't matter. At the very peak of my Beachbody career, like the very peak, when I was at the very top of my game, it was like the most mundane I think my business has ever felt. And that's why it was so successful, because it was so simple. It was stupid. And it felt wrong. Like it felt not right. So I was like constantly trying to F it up and be like, oh my gosh, I need to be doing more. Like I don't understand how this is happening. But it's because all I was focused on 100% was my own personal vital accountability every single day and my challenge group. That's it. That's all I cared about. I would even say like the coaching side of things for me has never been, that's something that I had to grow to love. My challenge group, I never had to grow to love. I just loved it. Right? There's so many things that I could use as an example for that right now. I don't even want to say it because I feel like it would make somebody mad, but I will say, like, there's things in our business that you're just naturally going to cling to and naturally love. That's where you should spend the most of your time, because that's what's going to make you the most successful. And you really need to make it stupid simple, because if you do, then it stays manageable. And when it's manageable, we're happier, we're healthier, right? And we can continue doing this for an extended period of time. And it's duplicatable. Like it's something that other people can be like, oh my gosh, this is all you do. This is that simple. And it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that we do, but at the same time, knowing what I know, being where I've been, there's a lot of things that people are keeping themselves busy with that aren't actually moving the needle forward. So if you're about to make a post, if you're about to make some kind of tracker, if you're about to spend time on something, ask yourself, is this going to get me a sale, a new membership, a subscription, or sponsor a new coach? Because if it isn't, then what are we doing? There are other areas of growth in our business, right? The very last one is probably a very big one, and that's results. So if you are creating a tool, creating a training, creating a post, creating something that is going to lead to a transformational experience to somebody or to yourself, do it. that will also lead to success, right? Because results are something that we have to have as well. But I will say, as far as your power hours go, as far as your daily activity, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much and nothing's happening in my business, I'm not making any money, I'm not advancing in rank, I'm not hitting Success Club, I'm not doing any of these things, let me tell you, Success Club is just how many enrollments you made and in which product. Rank is simply how many people you've sponsored and where you placed them in your business, in your organization, right? And income is a product of membership, subscriptions, and sponsorship. It's super, super simple. So if your goal is Success Club, focus on memberships. If your goal is rank, focus on sponsorship. If your goal is income, it's all three. That's when you're like, my baseline goals are I'm going to sign up this many new people every month on this product, right? And I'm going to sponsor X amount of coaches. I built my, just so you guys know, maybe I should stop the recording. Someone put the income disclaimer in the chat. I built my business to 6 figures in 18 months. My baseline goals that never changed and have never changed are 3 new challengers every single month, no matter what, and 2 new coaches every single month, no matter what. And that's it. I don't push myself beyond what I'm not capable of, but I also don't do less than that. And that's the real key. You don't have to do more, right? I say this all the time, but you can't do less. So anyway, I think with the way that membership is going, with the way that Beachbody is shifting, memberships right now especially are such a huge thing. So I encourage you to really dive into the membership options like BOD, Body, like the different options that there are even, and really figure out your signature product. Meaning, what do I love to sell? Like, don't even think about like if people need it or they don't need it. Just think, what products do I absolutely love? What is my signature package? And I promise you, you will feel so much more confident in putting that out there. And then when you have conversations with people on how to get them started, that signature package is going to come to mind and you're going to be like, this is my starter kit. Like if I could give everybody that starts with me the best chance of survival, what's going to go into my kit? That's what I always think about. And it's like, I'm going to set them up for success in every possible way: structure, community, accountability, and support. Just keep it simple. Okay. Okay. I don't know if that's helpful, but this is something that I'm like reiterating with my team a lot. So, okay. Breezy. Is your name Breezy? That's amazing. I don't know what you wanted me to repeat, but I can repeat it if you can tell me what it was. And then, yes, my power hours are this day and time through the rest of the year. I don't know about next quarter. Generally speaking, unless somebody moves out of the rotation or like we get new people in, our times and days stay the same. Okay. Oh, baseline. Yeah. My personal baseline was 3 challengers and 2 new coaches, 2 working coaches. I also have never signed up discount coaches or promoted that. I don't understand what the point of that is. It's not as beneficial to your business as you think. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be in a couple weeks. I'll see you guys. I hope you got a little stuff done this morning and feel productive. I'll do the direct networking power hour. I don't know if I'll do that one next. I'll goal for that. We'll see. But that is in the pipeline. So keep that in mind, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.